Okay, well, good morning. Coming to you on the 9th of October 2022, and I just wanted to say a few things about the Ukrainian situation. Um, as you might know, Ukrainians are having widespread battlefield successes, both in the east around the Kharkiv Oblast and now in the Luhansk Oblast, and in the Kherson area in the south west of the country. The Russians are doing very, very poorly. This is another manifestation or another consequence of its poor battlefield logistics. They really don't have any adequate logistics, and this is a byproduct of the reforms that were undertaken by the Russian government in after the fall of the Soviet Union. Um, this changed the whole nature of Soviet and Russian strategy, war strategy, and it has resulted in overall failures to field sufficient forces and to equip sufficient forces. Not alone, I mean, not to speak of any training for these forces, so that the Russians are doing very, very poorly um, in the battlefield and are likely to lose more and more ground. As I said months ago, I do believe that the Ukrainians will win, ultimately win this war. I do believe that they will make significant advances by year's end. They should take back most of the land that was conquered after the February 24th invasion of this year. But I believe that the Russians will have to endure a very, very difficult winter. The partial mobilization that was announced, partial only in semantic terms, but partial mobilization that the Kremlin announced is going to be overall a negative for Russian forces, although it will, I do believe it will lengthen the war, and it will cause much more suffering on the part of Ukrainian civilians primarily, and also much higher casualties on the Russian side, given the lack of training and equipment that these conscripts are going to be given, and the harshness of a Ukrainian winter. The Wehrmacht in the 1940s, after the Operation Barbarossa, found out that the conditions of Russian winter, and that includes Ukraine, were dire indeed. And I think that the Russians will find that, given their state of scarcity of equipment and training, but primarily equipment. As I understand, they don't have enough winter equipment to manage, and that the increase in manpower will only aggravate that situation. So I think that the overall military situation will go well for Ukrainians. I think ultimately they will win. I think the partial mobilization, again, I call it partial, but it doesn't matter if it's 300,000, which is too much for the Russian military to absorb, to equip, and to train effectively. I urge you, if you want to have more grounding in this material and in this situation, you can go on YouTube and visit a fantastic provider titled Perun, Perun, where the content creator gives a very detailed and well-researched analysis of the situation. And he claims that the mobilization might have some positives for the Russians, but only if the Russians can meet the demands for increased equipment and increased training, which I very much doubt that they can. But again, if you want a much more detailed analysis of that, please go on his website, and that is Perun, Perun, There were two shows the last 2 weeks. They're about an hour each, so they're long. As I said, he goes into great detail as to the situation on the ground. But you can, I think, gain a really, really good overview of what's going on and what's likely to happen. In my sense, the Russians will not adapt. They have very little capacity to adapt, and like warfare does depend on historical context. The Russians have never been able to adapt well to long-range logistical support for their forces. They are willing to trade mass casualties for victories, and in this case, I don't think it will work. Even if the Russians were to call for full mobilization, that is, every man from the age of 18 to 60 or beyond, sick or not, I think, well, first, I think that would cause a major upheaval. I think in the end, Putin's days are done. I think I called it back 4 months ago, and I still stand by that analysis. I think the mobilization that he just called further weakens him politically. As you may know, about 500 to 700,000 men have left the country, not willing to take any part in this invasion. There seems to be rifts in the Kremlin with people who oppose the war and the war hawks kind of taking their own positions there. And Putin himself has been directly criticized, according to one intelligence report, about the management of the war. And this is telling. There is a visible rift between Yevgeny Prigozhin, the chef, Putin's chef, the head of the Wagner Group, and Ramzan Kadyrov, the clownish TikTok strongman of the Chechens, who have taken on the military. There are reports of generals being arrested and removed. Just this morning or yesterday, the Kremlin named the new overall chief for the Ukrainian operation, a man by the name of Sergei Surovkin, and he is the head of the Russian Air Force, although he was tried and put in jail for corruption. Now he heads the overall Ukrainian theater. This is not going to be a solution. The problems with logistic training, absorption rates, generation of combat power for the Russians is systemic and widespread. It cannot be changed. The Ukrainians have begun a transformation into a NATO-type force, which has managed to mobilize and equip, without doubt, hybrid equipment, Soviet, Russian, and now the more sophisticated modern NATO weapons like the Panzerblitz Howitzer 2000 from Germany, the Iris air defense system from Germany, or HIMARS and other rocket launchers, and they've been able to integrate those into the military while training a fully mobilized population. So I think the writing is on the wall. The Ukrainians will win. As I said, it may take longer and it may require much suffering, but the Ukrainians will win in the end. Excuse me. There is a discernible rift in the Kremlin. I don't think that Putin will be there. I would say a year from now. He is a year from the beginning of the that's a year from February 24th of 2023. That is by February 24th, 2024. Putin will not be in power. I think I can confidently say that, given the tremendous rifts that are riveting the Kremlin. It is fascinating to see and to observe how these schisms in the political stance of the Kremlin are appearing, and that should bring about Putin's demise. What follows, who knows? I think that the situation on the ground, though, in Ukraine is irreversible. I think Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, a former U.S. commander of European forces, has said that. General David Petraus, former general commanding forces in Iraq, and former CIA head has said so as well. So I think they both said that the conditions on the ground are irreversible, and that Ukraine will win in the end. The only disagreement is how long it will take, and given the instability of the Kremlin, who knows? But I think that the writing is firmly etched on the wall, and that Ukraine's victory is irreversible now. Well, I hope that you enjoy this video update on the Ukrainian situation. I thought things were coming to a head, and I guess I was also mindful of the fact that I have not updated this in months. If you like this video, please give a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.